Alrighty, y'all. We are back. Clash of Cultures is back. Episode 15 of our live series, reacting and recapping to week 6 games. As you guys can see, my dad Jax is not here today. He had an emergency come up, had to be somewhere. So it's going to be solo dolo today. Kind of just going over all the games, talking to you guys, previewing a little bit of next week, some storylines, going over the AP poll that dropped today. So it's gonna be fun, man. But before we kind of dive into what happened over the weekend with some of these key matchups, make sure you say what's up when you enter the chat. Let me know where you guys are viewing from, what teams you guys were surprised with, what teams upset you guys throughout the weekend. If you guys see me looking down right now, I'm kind of following the last tidbits of the NFL games. But let's get right into it, man. The biggest game of the weekend, the Red River rivalry. I knew Oklahoma was going to win this game. I mean, I called this back in June when we were doing the preview series. I'm very high on Oklahoma. I think Brent Venables is a great coach. I'm not sure why so many people wrote him off, or he was written off based on last year. When last year a lot of the players left with Lincoln Riley, so he was left with like the scraps of the Oklahoma Sooner team. And after an entire year of building your team, you take down arguably one of the best college teams this year in Texas. What's going on, Daniel? USC won't make the Pac-12 championship game. That wouldn't surprise me. Only reason why I say that is because I think the Pac-12 has so many talented teams. We saw yesterday Washington State fall to UCLA, which I had Washington State winning. I think a lot of people had Washington State winning. We saw Colorado get pushed by Arizona State. We saw USC get pushed by Arizona, and Arizona even pushed Washington the week before. So, please catch this. PI. Sorry, I'm looking at the Vikings Chiefs game right now as I'm talking, but yeah, I think the Pac-12 is a tough conference. I think Utah can still knock a couple of teams off. Johnny says, I picked Texas. What can I say? But I'm glad I don't gamble. Yeah, I had bet on the Oklahoma game, but it was a parlay, so I didn't end up winning. But I'm just happy that Brent Venables got the win. It's probably his biggest win. Well, actually, not probably. It was definitely his biggest win as a head coach. Put them in the top? Are they in the top 5 now? I'm pretty sure they're in the top 5. I'm going to pull up the AP poll here in a few minutes. USC hasn't played Knicks or Penix yet. Yeah, I know they play either one of the two teams next week, so that's going to be a good game. Or maybe Oregon and Washington play each other next week. But it's going to be fun, man. Some other storylines that came out of last week. We saw Mizzou finally play against, a really good team in LSU. And LSU ended up getting the job done, winning by 10. I know we talked to JB a little bit in the Discord about that. If you haven't joined the Discord, please go join that. The link is in the description. We talk football in there every single day, especially on Saturdays during the games. But Missouri still, kept it competitive. So I respect Missouri for doing that. But I had a hunch that LSU was going to be too much for them. I think the talent gap is pretty wide when it comes to those two teams. So I wasn't very surprised that LSU got the job done there. Florida State winning by 22 against Virginia Tech. I'm pretty sure I had them winning by 20 or 17. I just thought that this game was going to be a tricky trap game for them. The reason being, I just think that they've kind of taken a step back ever since that Boston College game. And then obviously the Clemson game, having the close game against Clemson at Clemson. So I'm excited to see them play Duke. I'm excited to see them play Florida at the end of the year. It should be very interesting to see a team like Florida State, who kind of already has all of their easy or their hard games. Their hard games are already out of the way when you look at LSU and Clemson, and their only real tests now are Duke and Florida, which I think they're going to be heavy favorites in both of those games. So I'm looking forward to those games for a Florida State team. I want them to get knocked off, obviously, because they beat Clemson. I'd love to see them lose, but it's going to be very hard for a team like that to lose when you're a heavy favorite. And we saw how Florida looked against Utah. We saw how Duke looked against Notre Dame. We saw how I think they even played Miami, if I'm not mistaken, and Miami just lost to Georgia Tech. Daniel said happy for Oklahoma and Louisville. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Louisville and Notre Dame, man. Obviously, I was on record all year long talking about how good I thought Louisville was going to be. But I'm not going to sit here and lie. I picked Notre Dame to beat them. I thought Notre Dame would win this game. Now I'm not mad that Louisville won this game because it makes my preseason pick of me being high on them super. It makes it look like a genius. It makes it look like a genius, but I did not expect for them to win this game, especially not in that fashion. They dominated in the second half of the football game. They made it pretty much, a game where like possessions mattered, and a game like that for Notre Dame always swings in Notre Dame's favor, at least historically. So it's interesting that Louisville was able to play like that, get some key third and fourth down stops, force Hartman to throw 3 interceptions, I believe. Just overall, a really good game by Louisville. And again, the uniforms they're wearing were super nice. I think they have the best uniforms in college football. Vikings cannot get off the field against Kansas City, guys. Sorry, I'm going back and forth. But yeah, nonetheless, a big win for Louisville. Notre Dame officially out of the playoff race, which is tough because, Sam Hartman went to Notre Dame to try to compete for, meaningful football come, December and January. And it's not looking like that's going to be the case this year. So he'll kind of be in the same situation he was in Wake when it comes to bowl game and the caliber of bowl game he'll be playing in, which sucks for him because he's a good dude. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But moving on to the next game, we had Alabama A&M. Jalen Milroe looked amazing in this game, guys. Jermaine Burton looked really good. Before we move on to that one, Daniel says Louisville is a surprise to me. Didn't think they were this good. Thought they would be better. Louisville is a surprise to me. Didn't think they would do this good. Thought they would be better. You saying you thought they would be better than what they are now? But they didn't surprise me because this was my pick at the beginning of the year. Had them and Oklahoma doing very well this season. Louisville was my pick to go to the ACC title game against Florida State or Clemson. About time Cortland Sutton got a catch. Man, I need like 30 more yards from him. But yeah, I think big win for them and their season and their chance to go to the ACC title game. Obviously, a lot of confidence. Oh, excuse me. A lot of confidence. Sorry, I've been up since like 5:45 with my newborn. So it's been very rough for me today and watching football and everything. But yeah, another game that surprised me big time was the North Carolina win over Syracuse and how they won that big. I'm not surprised that North Carolina won the game. I did have Syracuse winning, but I'm surprised that they won by 33 points and won 40-7, especially when Clemson looked very lackluster against them. So I think North Carolina kind of proved that they can, beat a tough defense in Syracuse. North Carolina still has to play Clemson at some point in this year. I forget when, in a couple of weeks, I think. But so that game should be pretty good. But they surprised me with that win. Georgia winning by 38 points was surprising. I know my dad got on here talking about how the blue wall and Kentucky was going to win that game, and everybody in the chat, I'm pretty sure, denied it and did not agree. So I think that was interesting to see them win by 38. I had them winning, but not like that. Excuse me. They dominated the game. It wasn't close at any point, really. I'm tired. It wasn't close at any point in the game, like I said. So seeing them win like that was definitely a surprising outcome. You had Michigan win by 42 against Minnesota. Not much to say about that game. Big win for them. You had Ole Miss beating Arkansas by 7, closer game than I thought it would be. But I liked Ole Miss in that game to begin with as well. What other game? Miami losing to Georgia Tech was a big one. Guinea Pig called it. They lost to a bad Georgia Tech team. And if you guys saw how they lost, they should have kneeled the ball. That's when coaching, like that, I'm not going to say the coach should be fired, but it's like you get paid millions of dollars to do your job. And instead of kneeling the ball, you try to run and get a couple of extra yards to try to prove a point. Like, what are we doing? And it cost you the game. So, Cristobal should definitely be, I'm going to say on the hot seat because they're still doing really good, but he should be scrutinized for that type of play. You go from an ACC contender to now losing to Georgia Tech, and you still have a tough back end of your schedule. Terrible coaching, absolutely terrible coaching by Cristobal and the rest of Miami coaching staff. And the Miami players deserve better, to be honest. They beat an A&M team, a good A&M team. Then you lose to Georgia Tech because your coach calls a run play on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, whatever it was, with 30 seconds on the clock. Another team has no timeouts. That's the kind of game that ruins the season. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it literally ruins the season because not only do you have a loss in conference play, but you still have to go and play a team like Clemson. I think you still play Florida State. I could be wrong. You still play Okay, so you still play Clemson, you play North Carolina, you play NC State, you play Florida State, and you play Louisville. You're not going to go undefeated in those games. So losing this game was a big hit for your ACC title, chances, even your ACC title appearance chances. It's just a terrible call. And like I said, I feel bad for the players because the players deserve more than that. They played a tough game, had the game won, and you call a run play. It's not the running back's fault for fumbling the ball. I get that he fumbled, but at the end of the day, he shouldn't have been in the situation to even fumble. You should have kneeled the ball, took your win, but instead you call that play. I want to know what he said in the post game. I have to look into that. I want to know what he said at the post game, his reasoning for running. Let me know in the comment section if you guys know the reason he decided to call a run play. Let's see. Next game, Wyoming upset Fresno State. That was my pick there as well. I thought Wyoming would win that game. I don't know too much about both teams, but I did have Wyoming winning that game. Oregon State won in a shootout against Cal, 52-40. And then obviously the USC Arizona game. I want to kind of tap into the hold on one second, guys. I'm watching the Broncos Jets game as I'm doing this, so it's kind of tough. Okay, incomplete. Let me see. Wyoming should be top 25. I think they're the second or third team out of the top 25, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't Cristobal blame the players for losing the game? I want to watch the interview because if he did, that is ridiculous, and he should be fired, to be honest. One second, guys. Come on, Hawkinson. Sorry, I'm watching my Vikings. Where's Jax? He had an emergency. He had to go somewhere. He literally told me like an hour before the show. Not really an emergency, just he had some reservations that he had to do. So I didn't want to cancel the live show, so I just figured I'd get on here. It's been a wowzers. Broncos lose the game. Shout out to my parlay. But yeah, sorry. I'm like trying to look at 8 different screens right now. But yeah, he had somewhere to be, and I wanted to keep doing the live show because we've been doing this every single week. But I kind of want to talk about this AP poll, guys. So just looking at the AP, my immediate reactions. This isn't going to be a super long live show. Obviously, I'm by myself, so it's hard to kind of tic-tac back and forth with the comment section, especially because you guys are a little delayed. And obviously, I don't have anybody else on here to kind of, go back and forth and have dialogue with. So just to kind of talk about, like I said, the top 25 surprises to me. This is my first time looking at this, by the way. I haven't looked at it at all. I cropped the picture and posted it on here, and I was waiting. So surprising me that Oklahoma is in the top 5. I probably had them at 7 or 8. I know they had a big win against Texas, but I'm kind of surprised they should be that high. Guinea Pig says Notre Dame should not be ranked. Put Wyoming there instead of us. It's hard to say, though, because you guys, still looked really good. I think 21 is fair, right along with LSU. I think that's fair, fair play for you guys. Now, if you lose to USC, then I think you guys are going to be out of the top 25. But there's another kind of, not want to say gripe I have, but I think if LSU and Notre Dame, one second, are both ranked, then I think, they got to spike the ball. You got to spike the ball. Hold on, guys. I'm waiting for the Vikings to spike this ball. They're going to have one shot with 5 seconds. Kentucky and Miami should not be top 25 either. Well, I think Miami needs to be because they only have the one loss, and it came off of from what I would assess as a fluke. So I like them at 25 over a team like Clemson. So, I mean, we'll see. I know Clemson has a bye week this week. I know Notre Dame should have a bye. If not, then the week after this or whatever. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where this shakes out. I like Louisville at 14. I think they've earned that spot with the big win over Notre Dame. I like Duke at 17 still, even though they lost to Notre Dame. I think 17 is a good spot for them. I like North Carolina there. Texas did not fall very far back. I didn't think they were going to because, I mean, you did lose to a really good team in Oklahoma. And then you still have, the other, top 6 or 7 teams. What's a bye? Yeah, you guys don't know what a bye week is either. We got ours this week, though. 1 second. It's the last play of the game for the Vikings. We got to figure it out, y'all. Oh, he has no time. He's oh, my God. That's a ball game. Man, got to love my Minnesota Vikings, man. 1-4. That's tough. That is tough. But yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the top 25. But yeah, I don't really have any gripes with this one. Washington State falling back 6 spots after a loss to UCLA. UCLA jumping them, so that's fine there. A lot of Pac-12 teams in here, guys. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Pac-12 teams in the top 25. It's been consistently 6 through 8. So interesting. The Big Ten has 3, I believe. You're an idiot. The ACC has 1, 2, and 3. And the SEC has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's respectable as well. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to see how the top 25 shook up. I know that the college football playoff rankings is coming, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. So we're finally going to be able to get some real rankings from the actual committee and not just the AP poll. So I'm very interested in doing that. Let's just go ahead and quickly go over next week's games, and then I'm going to head out of here, guys. I know it's a quick live stream, but again, it's kind of hard to do one by myself without, going back and forth with someone tick for tack. Daniel said when Washington beats Oregon this week or this Saturday, Washington should be a top 4 team. If that happens, I think Washington needs to be probably, top 4 is fair. I would say top 4 is fair because I think Washington has already shown that they're a top 4 team. They just don't have the resume for it. So I think a big win over Oregon will definitely put them in that spotlight. That's for damn sure. But moving on, next week's games, just a brief little kind of preview. We're obviously going to do our Friday show this week with my dad when he's back. As I said, he had somewhere to be today. He had reservations. He told me literally an hour before the show, so I kind of just had to put this one together by myself, which is tough, but we're getting the job done here. Next week, we have Florida State, Syracuse, which should be a decent game. I know Syracuse looked kind of bad against North Carolina, but Florida State has looked, below average the last couple of weeks themselves. So hopefully that one's a good game. We have Oregon, Washington in a big game that Daniel just pointed out. Texas A&M, Tennessee. Louisville, Pitt should be good. Auburn, LSU. USC, Notre Dame. Missouri, Kentucky, Miami, North Carolina, UCLA, Oregon State, NC State, Duke. A lot of good games this week, guys. A lot of good games. I hope NC State beats Duke. That would help Clemson as far as ACC run. I'd love to see Miami knock off North Carolina. I'd love to see Auburn beat LSU. That would be awesome. So a lot of good games this week. Obviously, the highlighted by Oregon and Washington. That one's going to be a good one. But I'm looking forward to it, man. But with all that being said, like I said, a quick show, just a kind of quick recap of what happened over the weekend. Kind of hard to do them myself, but we got it done. Please, before we head out, guys, I know it's only a 20-minute stream, but please do me a quick favor. Like the video, share it to someone, get more people in here to talk football with us. We're going to drop an episode tomorrow. I'm not sure what the topic's going to be, so comment down below in the comment section what you guys want us to, kind of preview or talk about during the week. Big live show coming this Friday to preview the Oregon-Washington game as well as all the other games. It's been fun. We actually lost 3 subscribers over the weekend, which is kind of weird. I'm wondering if it's from people's teams that have lost. So like they're, mad that, the picks were good. The picks were against their team or something. I don't know. Kind of weird though. The fact that people go to the channel and take the time to go unsubscribe. That to me, that's a little weird. It's kind of corny, but who am I to talk? We will see you guys tomorrow during the show or tomorrow during the episode and then Friday during the live show. Make sure you guys hit the notification bell and subscribe if you haven't already. We will see you guys then.